Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger, and today I'm doing a quick video documenting a project that I'm working on that's in the mid stages of development. Although I will be able to finish this fairly quickly. Now, when I was younger, it was 1976. I was 9. We had moved to Willow Springs was the name of this town that we lived in. And one of the kids who lived in this town, who lived on the next street over, his dad was the fire chief. And it was just one boy and then the mom and the dad in this house. And they were American. They were American. Like I found out later, there's a veterans memorial in Willow Springs, and that was one of the things that, like, I said, is that flagstone? And this guy snapped back and answered me. He knew all about it. Do you remember that?
No, well,
It was,
no, it sounds
he
familiar though.
he said that he took each piece of flagstone out and like polished it and put them back. It was bizarre. That was this guy's dad, and he was the fire chief. So when I say they were American, they really were awesome people. This family. Now, one of the things that the son of the kid wasn't very popular in the neighborhood. There were some other bullies that were picking on this guy, but yeah, he was a great guy. Just at an awkward stage, maybe. So this dude, he had this. And what this is, it's resistors, capacitors, diodes, transistors, integrated circuit. There's a speaker, a transformer, a potentiometer. There's 2 transformers actually. There's a meter, a lamp, and what was that? That was over in the corner. What was that up in the corner? Oh, the relay. So here is the last kit that I built. Still stands. You pop the batteries in here, and then there's this. So this is a switch. This is a momentary contact switch. You can see where it makes its contact here. I don't know if you can see that. There's just there's a screw where it makes contact. So you connect this with 2 wires to the circuit, and then there is the Morse code key is supplied. And I remember this was the coolest thing. This kit, it was just the absolute cat's meow for me as a young kid. Like here, it just opened to this project number 121, 2 transistor radio, and here they show it, and they'll give you the key. It says 21, 23, 22, 24. And I laugh because that's up here. That's these connections that go from the these connections that run from the output transformer to the speaker. So my favorites were all my favorite projects always use the speaker. I really like doing the projects that made noise, the noisemaker projects. So when I laugh, that's because that's brings back some memories of doing those. More often than not, you would just leave them in there. Wouldn't even disconnect them. So I'm gonna read from the list of experiments: the electronic candle, the big ear, electronic reflex tester. The electronic candle was something where, like, you made a noise and it would light this lamp, and it was on like a timer, and then it would go out until you made another noise, and then it would light up again. It was a weird project. Electronic reflex tester, machine gun pulse oscillator that would go dat 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 dat. There was actually quite a few projects that were really similar to the machine gun oscillator, which is a square wave oscillator, with different names in here. They would just change the value of the resistor or capacitor and give it a different name. Rapid LED switching, persistence of vision test. Let's get a little carried away there. Light oriented direction finder, CDS cell target practice. Electronic woodpecker, electronic cat, electronic motorcycle, two-tone patrol car siren, electronic metronome, electronic grandfather clock, light-controlled electronic harp, sleep machine, the chirping bird, and horror movie sound effect. 19. I seem to remember that the horror movie sound effect was a really big project. This project is similar to Project 77. Let's see what 77 is before we move on. Electronic organ. Okay. So this project, the horror movie sound effect, is similar to Project 77, except that it uses the CDS cell to control the oscillation frequency instead of the 50K variable resistor, or the control, or the potentiometer. The sound that it produces will remind you of the scary music you hear in horror movies. The pulse type oscillator on the right side of the schematic produces the basic sound. The base bias of its 2SC transistor supplied through two sources, the multivibrator circuit on the left side of the schematic and the CDS cell. The multivibrator sends a pulsing current flow which causes the tremolo or the wavering tone effect. And the resistance of the CDS cell controls how much of that current reaches the 2SC base. This determines the charge to discharge rate of the capacitor and therefore the frequency of the pulse oscillator. When the frequency of an oscillator is controlled by another circuit, it is called FM, or frequency modulation. An FM radio signal is something like this, except at a much higher frequency. So, Is this a twin T oscillator that has an LFO? Is that what this is? This circuit is using. This would be the one I would like to put together. 1857-59. Yeah, this is different. This is different. Now the CDS cell is right here. Okay, and that's it's a photoresistor is what that is. So what that boils down to is the projects in there that I really liked were oscillators, and even if they, in order to change the frequency or the pitch of the sound it would produce, like let's say the way it had been designed was to use a control, a knob, I would unplug that and route it over to the CS cell so you could have light control it. So you could wee and go real high. Like if you brought a little desk lamp over it and put it over it, it would go so high that you almost couldn't hear it. And then if you palmed it, if you covered it, it would go so low that it would just sputter like pop, pop, pop. And as you slowly crack your hand, the seal between your hand and the CDS cell, you begin to emit a little small amount of light. It would go pop, 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 and eventually turn into a tone. And that's a square wave. You get into lower frequencies and it's not singing, it's not producing a tone. Like the square wave will do those pops. Then you have a triangle wave, like so it's like this, like square wave looks like that, where it's just like turning on and turning off. And then the triangle wave like ramps up and then drops down. And then you have the sine wave. And like all of this type of stuff, it applies in synthesis, in sound and audio. So understanding, having a grasp of these concepts gave me a bit of a leg up as far as like just understanding what's going on with certain things, especially synthesizers. Okay, so for me, this kit, it gave me as a young man a real advantage as far as like this was my electronics training. I absorbed everything in this. Like we played with this, and then I ended up getting one. I begged my folks for it, and they weren't cheap, but they ended up getting me one. And like I don't know why they wouldn't want to nurture me. They didn't. It was just like, it was all about my other two brothers pretty much. But I guess that was my own fault because I didn't have a fire in my heart for Jesus. So yeah, the long and the short of it is, where I'm sitting here now, I have a box full of parts. And I built a sine wave oscillator. That's what's in this box. And I have an amplifier circuit, some battery trays, some speakers. And I'm going to be making a Morse code test oscillator, just a little on some pieces of scrap wood. I'm making my own key. I have a nice wooden, it's like a knob maybe, or maybe it's the end of a screwdriver. It's a little wooden, like kind of a nice thing. But that's going to serve as the actuator end of where you press. I found it's the top of an old binocular case. It's like leather, and that's going to serve as a wrist pad for where you set your wrist. And then I've got a real small driver. I experimented. I started out with this one. And today I found these, which is a little smaller. And what I found is running the speaker in a, oh, it's in here. Running the speaker in a tube of PVC pipe. Like, okay, if you just have a speaker, like let's say I'm building this project and I'm just gonna, like the easiest thing would be to use some epoxy, put some glue on the bottom of the magnet and just glue it to the board. That would be the easiest thing. Or maybe turn it over and run 4 screws in from the top and have it facing down. As far as audio, the concepts of audio and speakers go, that's the worst way to do it. A speaker needs an enclosure. So my idea was put it in a piece of PVC pipe. So I went out and bought, here's a failed driver. I got a single speaker from the resale store, and one of the drivers is you can see I've scribbled this sad face, inoperative. It's smashed in, but there's 2 other good ones. So yeah, we drop the driver in here. I'll put a little piece of foam in there to push it up, and then this is a 3/4. So a piece of 3/4 will fit coming out of here. So I'll have an additional piece of 3/4 coming out, and then a 90. So basically this will be like, here's the assembly with the speaker. It'll come down, hit the 90, and then come over. So I have a larger baseboard and then a smaller, like 3/4 inch high plywood chunk. And I'm going to elevate the wrist pad with the binocular thing. So there'll be a chunk of 2x2 that'll elevate that up 2 inches. Here is this wooden knob that's going to go on the end of a piece of, they say you can use a nail file. I have this stuff like for the throw, the straight key, for the beep beep beep. I'm going to use plumber's tape, which is just like tin. It's like a strip of tin with holes drilled in it. And then I've got stuff like this. Or this is actually really nice. This is from a CB antenna. This piece here, it's got a half moon on it. So more than likely, this will strike that. And that'll make the connection. So your hand is I'm gonna try to design this ergonomically to make it really comfortable for your hand to rest on that pad, and with your index finger reaching on this wooden knob, and then this will line up. And then I've got these are battery trays, so I'll have 2 of those on the left side. On the side of the board, I'll put the battery holders in on the side. And then on the other side, I'll have the PVC pipe. And I'll have that with this sitting on the top, maybe I might even do a 90 and have this sitting up. Like, okay, if I probably will do it this way, but it means I have to go back to the store and get another 90. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the way that makes. So yeah, this will come. This will be over. We got here's the block. So we'll have this up here, and this is going to come down, and then I'll have another 90, and it'll run the pipe over. So the output of the pipe is right where your thumb is. If you can picture that, where I'm beeping here, and my thumb would be able to cover. So you could you could hold the button down and do cat and meow meow. You could go wow wow, like wow wow with the tube. We already tried it when we put the speaker on the tube and then played with the manually opening and closing the tube. It produces a pretty cool. It shows how you can sculpt the sound that way. And again, this is one of those projects that's just it just popped up in my head, and like I started looking at. I mean, this all goes back to this. And you go, why would you do this? Well, I do it because this is what defines me, is stupid projects. I know it doesn't have a practical application. I realize that. That being said, it's a sine wave. I can change it to a triangle or a square with this circuit that I built. And I can adjust the range to go from so low and so high out of the range of human hearing. And sometimes I need a little oscillator. Sometimes I do. When I'm doing my music stuff here for recording, I remember getting one of these out and building and having a microphone by the speaker and doing this beeping because I heard it in my head when I was mixing. I heard this beeping. So now I will have a Morse code key Morse code test rig or Morse code practice oscillator. And yes, I realize they sell them. The only thing, what did we spend to get this?
$5.
Well, and we're going to bring the 250 back. So we bought the PVC parts. The rest of it is scrap. The total price is, under 10. If you price up everything that we bought, it was stuff I already had here. So it didn't cost us a lot, and it's a fun little thing I can do that's right up my alley, I would say, if I had to try to justify this. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm working on. I can't believe this is 25 minutes.